We're pressing on in our study of the Septuagint version of the Song of the Suffering Servant by taking a look at Isaiah 53, verse 6. Pantes hos probata eplanethemen, anthropos te hadou eplanethe, kai kyrios paredoken auton, tais hamartiais hemon. Now we'll start with this first noun here, probata, which may not be terribly familiar. This is the plural form of sheep, so referring to us. And then our first verb, which is actually repeated, is eplanethem, and you'll see it's also repeated on the next line, eplanethe. Both of these are from the verb planao, which means to go astray. And you'll notice that they both have a theta, eta ending and an epsilon on the front end. So this tells us this is aorist passive indicative. The first one with the men is first plural. This one, the second one, is third singular. Now you may be wondering, why is it passive? It could be that we are being led astray here, perhaps by our own sin or something to that effect. But more likely, the theta here is just sort of encroaching on the territory of the middle, so it functions like a middle. We are going astray. So this first line then is all, or we all, as sheep, have gone astray. Next line, though, we begin with anthropos. You might be wondering, do we translate this with man? And you wouldn't in this case. The underlying Hebrew here is ish, which does, of course, mean man, but it also is used in an idiom for each one or each person. So that's the better option here. Each one, then, has gone astray in his path. That's hodos there, in his own path. Now, third line there, kai kyrios paredoken. Paredoken there is from paradidomi, which may be familiar with the en ending and the epsilon here. This is a third singular aorist active indicative from paradidomi, which means to give over. It's an athematic me verb, which is why it has a kappa. That's not a perfect kappa. This is just how the aorist is spelled for this verb. And so the Lord gave him over, this suffering servant. And it's beautiful how it ends here. In our sins. And so he's not suffering for his own sins. He's being given over by the Lord in ours. Now, this passage is indirectly alluded to in 1 Peter 2. In fact, 1 Peter 2 is making a lot of use of the entirety of the Song of the Suffering Servant. And he starts here in verse 24 with, by his wounds you have been healed, which refers back to 53:4 in the prior video, the suffering of this servant. And then he moves to, on the basis of that, we who were straying like sheep, we've gone astray like sheep because of the work of the servant who suffered on our behalf. He's now become our great shepherd and brought us back to himself. So a lovely way that the Apostle Peter here is connecting this suffering servant song not only to Jesus, but also to us as well, who were the wayward sheep now bought back by the shepherd.